Welcome to Tom's Aviation. Come over here and watch this video.
Miles, you happy?
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Bob Markert. I'm currently one of the luckiest men going because I get to fly for the commemorative Air Force. And our job is to educate, honor, and inspire the next generation of pilots. I'm lucky because I get to fly both the Stearman PT-13 and the T-6, which is behind us. That T-6 is a very special T-6 because that airplane, not one like it, that exact airplane was at Avenger Field, and it was used to teach the women Air Force service pilots how to fly. And we're very lucky that we have 11 signatures in the baggage compartment of that airplane of the women that have flown that airplane. This right here is a PT-13 Stearman. Boeing bought Stearman, and so it's a Boeing-Stearman. Now the PT stands for primary trainer. The 13 stands for the engine. This has a Lycoming engine on it. This exact airplane would be called the PT-17 if it had a Continental engine on it. I love this airplane because it truly puts you in touch with the wind. It's an open cockpit airplane. The pilot flies it from the back seat. That's the primary pilot position. The front seat is where the student or the passenger would ride. Of course, they would go back and forth depending on what kind of training they would do. It's a very basic airplane. If you look up under the wing, you'll see a mirror and you'll see a glass tube. The mirror is where the student could look, where the instructor could look at the student. Now the instructor pilot would wear what we would consider like a feed bag or an oxygen mask that had tubes running forward like a stethoscope, and the student would have them in his ears. Communication was one way. The glass tube hanging down from the center there is my fuel gauge. The fuel tank's in the upper wing, and it's got a cork on it with a rod, and it just floats in the gas. Right now I'm full, so the indicator is all the way to the top. As the fuel burns off, it'll come down. Now that's only good on the ground. I said that wrong. That's only good in flight, because when it's sitting on the ground on its tail, all the fuel is not in the level flight attitude. It has 225 horsepower. It's a joy to fly because you can feel every bump and every gust of wind. I like to tell my passengers it's like being at 1,000 feet, 90 miles an hour in a motorcycle. You smell the smells, you see the sights, you can see everything around you. It's really excellent. I've been a CAF pilot for 2 years. Prior to that, I flew air shows for 11 years on the Rocky Mountain Renegade Air Show team. And that was a really wonderful experience. A 7-member team, and we flew together for 11 years. Our final performance was last year at Oshkosh. We performed at Oshkosh 3 times, but it takes a lot of time and effort to keep a team that big together. As a matter of fact, my wife and I haven't had a summer vacation in 11 years. We vacation in the spring and the fall, but the air show season took up all the time. If you want to see what we did, you can go to the Rocky Mountain Renegade Air Show team, and that is rmrairshows.com. And there's some pretty good videos, and there's some descriptions of the pilots there. I've already said this is a PT-13 because it has a Lycoming engine on it. They put Lycomings, they put Continentals, and I think they even put some Jacobs on, but this is a Lycoming. The exhaust comes out from each cylinder, and there are 9 cylinders, into this collector ring, and then the exhaust comes out the side here. Now you got to remember, back in the day, these airplanes didn't have electrical systems. So the way they started it, there was a flywheel in here. And you would stand here with a crank, and you would crank and you'd get this thing going. When the flywheel was going fast enough, they'd look back at the pilot, they'd say contact clear, they'd pull the handle, engage the propeller and start it. Now me personally, I'm not interested in being this close to a rotating propeller. This is just here for historical value. We've installed an electrical system now, but what is still operational is the primer, which is on this side right here. So before I get in, if the engine's cold, I have to prime it from the outside here. I know, it's something. It's a fabric-covered airplane over a wooden wing. You can see the stitching along here where they would come up and they would stitch it on there, and that was to keep the fabric from lifting up. If we come around the side here, I'll show you what the fabric looks like. I'm going to show you my Snoopy tool. See how it looks like Snoopy? And we use that for the Zeus fasteners. Over here, there's an access panel for inspection. And you can see in here how the fabric is sewn. They use a really long needle. They come up from the bottom, they go over top of the rib and back down. And then once that's all done, they put this tape over it to hide all the knots coming along the top. If they didn't do that, it would be like, I don't know, maybe a blanket or something flapping in the back of a pickup truck. So they need that to hold that down against the wooden frames. And as you can see in here, if you come along to this side over here, it's a wooden wing. There's some of the wooden structure. And right here is the wooden spar.
And what kind of wood?
I think, I'm not an expert, but I think they typically use spruce.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's people out there in your viewing audience that'll go, I know exactly what they use, and maybe they'll leave it in the comments.
Sure, there you go. There you go. And then the acrobatic flying, you've done it all, or?
I have done it all. I'm very fortunate. In my background is I joined the Army a long time ago as an aircraft mechanic, and then I went to Warrant Officer Flight School and flew Cobra attack helicopters. Did that for a while, and I met this little redhead lady I'm still married to after 47 years. Got out of the service, went in and went into the Air Force, and I flew F-15s for 8 years. Got out of the service then and got my airline job, retired from United Airlines. But while I was flying at United, I joined the Army Guard again and flew the Apache attack helicopter. So I've had the best career ever. I've flown Cobras, Apaches, and F-15s. Now I get to fly the Stearman and the mighty T-6.
I bet you've never even watched TV in your life. You've been always busy.
I've been busy, but yeah, there's some TV time.
Wow. And what was your experience with the CAF as far as entertaining the crowd? How do you like that?
I love that, but before I was ready to fly these airplanes and entertain the crowd, I was very concerned that the maintenance must be good and the safety procedures and protocols must be in place. And I'm here to tell you, after having a 49-year professional career, I wasn't going to do anything crazy. I wasn't going to fly airplanes that weren't airworthy. I wasn't going to fly airplanes that, had issues. And I can honestly say the commemorative Air Force, the B-29, B-24 wing, far exceeded my expectations as far as maintenance, safety protocol, and honoring, inspiring, and educating the next generation of people.
So for the people that dream of aviation day and night, but they've yet to take the step to get into aviation,
right?
What would you suggest?
Well, there's several ways to do it. You could do the civilian route. And within the civilian route, there's several ways even there. You can sign up for a professional course like ATP, where you're doing it full time like a job. It's expensive to do it that way. It's expensive anyway, but it gets it done quickly. It gets it done with a lot of repetitions in a short amount of time, and the training usually sticks better. If you do it a little bit piecemeal at a time, it's a little bit harder. In between, if you're only flying once or twice a month, in between you start losing maybe a little bit of your proficiency. But you can do it that way if you don't have the opportunity to go full time. The way I did it is I joined the military. I was inspired to join the military, and Uncle Sam taught me how to fly, and I'm very thankful for that. It gave me a good solid background, and it's kept me safe for the last 49 years.
You happy?
I found a similar plane when I was 3 years old called a cantilever.
Really? Wow.
I used to go up with my little
Wow.
helmet, goggles on, and drop sticks and stones out the side of it.